it's great to have a chance to talk to you, brother, because the last time I saw you was the closing of an icon venue here in Toronto,
Yeah,
and
brother.
then establishment. And then just a little while ago, I'm on social media because I kept following this amazing establishment. And I'm going, wait a minute, has something returned? So can you please explain to me what is going on, or am I seeing a ghost, or have I gone back? Am I in the have I
Yeah.
gone back in time or something like that?
No, man, we reopened the restaurant back in May.
Wow.
Yeah. It was time to come back. It was time to come back. You know?
Well, well, hold on. Let me just keep jumping in here. Why did you close? And why did you decide this was the right time to reopen? I know COVID was going on in between all this
Yeah,
craziness.
we closed in November 2019, like just before COVID club came. You know what I mean? And the idea was to move out here and build a retreat. Which I'm sitting in right now. You know, um, that was idea to build a retreat for my wife who had wanted to like open a retreat, a wellness center, so to speak. And we decided that we couldn't do both at the same time. The restaurant is its own animal. You know what I mean? You can't go at it half-assed. You gotta go full on. So, we decided it was time to pull up and, go do this thing that really was her life dream, you know? And we pulled out just in time. Like literally, we closed November 11th, 2019. And by March 17th, the world came to it came to a full stop for, we're just getting over that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us a good 4.5 years to build this out because we built it ourselves, and we opened last year, July. Yeah, we opened last year, July. We finished up last year, July, um, and launched it during Carvana weekend. And it's been a great time, man. I can't complain, It After that, it just it's just a series of how we even call it, not even coincidences. It's just the universe just kept calling me back, you know, and it just culminated in my tenant leaving and me interviewing a bunch of people and realizing that I'm better off in the game myself. So I decided to reopen Harlem. And when we did, it was I can't even explain it to you. The the response was gave me goosebumps, like for real. Within like a few weeks, we had like 81,000 hits. You know what I mean? It was just like people were just loving us. The idea of us returning to the city, which gave me the impetus to like, okay, let's do this. You know what I mean?
So you had no idea we missed you so much.
Bro, it's weird. I, over the years, I mean, it was like 5.5 years, going on, and in the restaurant game, 5.5 years is not just a generation, man. It's a lifetime. The restaurants changed fundamentally in ways, you know, I didn't imagine it changing that much, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of, it was heartwarming.
I can understand that, but here's something I need to ask because I want people to make sure they understood. So you still owned the property,
Yeah, we
correct?
still own the building. Yeah, we still own the building. And the idea was just like, you know, live off the rent, you know, which is on Queen Street West is decent money. You know what I mean? And there's always that. You know what I mean? Uh, the rent is decent. It could easily, we could have easily gone the route of the landlord, but we decided, and really, like to get back into the restaurant game is almost suicide. Like, when you're in it on a regular day, so it's like it's trying, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like
True.
easy business to survive in. But I gotta say, my kids are working it now, you know? Like my kids are grown adults now, you know what I mean? Like, and they're in there. My eldest does the books, you know, keeps us organized. Is doing the brunch menu for me. You know what I mean? It's like, so we are as a family like moving in that direction, and everybody
Okay.
is like chipping in. My youngest is like bussing on the weekends.
Wow. So what can we expect from 2.0 from what we remember from the original?
Community, really. It's you know, weird thing is my it's the thing we did better than anything else.
Hmm.
You know, you know, we were a restaurant that really focused on the community that we served.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's really how we endeared ourselves because one of the things we realized is those years that we spent because Harlem East became a community hub because we decided to give the upstairs, which we only use on the weekends, right? You know, we decided to give it to the community for the times that we weren't using it, like no rent. You could just walk in, have a conversation with the manager or the owner, because I usually was there. And, it was, we had one staff that would go up there, keep an eye on things. You want to order some stuff? Sure. And it wasn't, that wasn't a profit center. It wasn't a profit motive. It was just to
Hmm.
like, have those who wanted to have a poetry reading, or they putting this little band together and they want to like, you know, see if they could do it. You know what I mean? With a bunch of friends. That happened a lot. When I say a
Hmm.
lot, I mean years and years and years. So we had like this bank of goodwill, you know, that I didn't even realize because when we closed Harlem East and we focused on Harlem West, and because we had sold the building over there eventually, right? And we, moved focused on Harlem West for another 2 years. And when we closed, it was people came out. We had like we literally had
I was there. I was there. So I remember the
yeah,
closing.
man. It took we closed it down over a 5 day period. We had all the people who had events there, come in and do a last throwdown, and when we after we closed, the world just became so chaotic and crazy. You don't really, but every time I'd hear it, I'd go into the city because for a while I became kind of feral. I just spent all my time at the farm, right? Just
Hmm.
building this out. You know, I went into the city on very, very rarely over that whole 5 year period. When I would go in, a buddy would have a barbecue or a party, and I'd turn and be like, "Oh man, we all miss Harlem." Like, yeah, bro, but for me, it was the game had like gotten to the point where it was kind of stifling my own creative
Yes.
energies. You know what I mean? Because like people don't realize how much time and energy a restaurant consumes when you've got to like, you know what I mean? Open every day, deliver the food within 15 minutes. The service has got to be on par. Everybody's taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not like you know, and it's one of those things that happened. Like I was at a party in a Halloween party, and in Alliston, complete strangers. My buddy called me. He's like, "Hey, could you come over? Because my kid met these kids on the street. There's a new subdivision, right? Nobody knows anybody, you know, and his kid had met these kids in the street. They're playing ball hockey, So he's like, okay, Halloween, I'm gonna have these people over. And his kid was the one who actually identified the people who he wanted over because he knew their kids. So he's like, okay, I'm having these people over. Let's how about you come over and like shotgun? You know what I mean? Like keep the conversation going because it can get what I'm saying with new people you
Hmm.
don't know. So these people came over, we're all in the kitchen, and the kids are playing outside. and it gets around to what do you do, And I'd been like out of the game for so long. I was building this, so I'm like, I'm a builder, man. I've been building this thing, And my friend was like, no, no. Carl used to own a restaurant called Harlem back in the day, right? And within 6 seconds, one's like, hey, we remember Harlem. That's where we met at a party. Whoa. And then the other one's like, that's where we met as well. And then the other one's like, yeah, we had our first date there. I swear to God, bro, it was five couples.
Wow.
Five couples, right? And three had met at Harlem, right? How bizarre is that? They started blaming me for their kids. Like, yeah, you gotta feed those because really.
Oh my goodness. That's a beautiful
It's a crazy
story.
story, isn't
It's a
it?
crazy
It's a
story.
crazy story, brother. But it's like to tell you the amount of times that there's some bizarre coincidence. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I was just like, you know, when the tenant didn't work out for the renewal of the lease, I actually interviewed at least on over a 3 week period, right?
Wow.
I had at least 16 offers to rent the space, right? And with every person that came with the business plan and this is what I'm gonna do, I came and just having been in the game for as long as I've been in it, you know what I mean? You could take a look at whether or not they actually know what they're talking about, you know what I mean? Or you're not gonna last, and I'm gonna be in the same position next year or 2 years. If that was what I wanted, well, okay, we could I could be a landlord for another 2 years and then I gotta find another tenant.
Hmm.
But it just didn't sit well. Like none of it sat well with me. And I mean, bro, to go back into a space and like rebuild another restaurant, it's a lot of money. But the idea of having agency in that respect with my kids, that really appealed to me. In the past 5 years, my youngest, the 22-year-old, she was like working in a supermarket. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you need to see and know that you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My eldest had just lost their job, as an accountant, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like for real, you know? I'm living in Xanadu, you know, you know, doing yoga 3 times a day, but really, my kids are suffering, man. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, if the idea was to go back, build it out, and say, here, do it, and they're doing it. They are.
The legacy is continuing. So, the
Mm.
question for a lot of people are when we walk through the doors, will we see what we saw 5 years ago? Is the food going to be the same or is it different? Will we see the vinyl around? Will we see
It's
those
funny. Yeah,
iconic? Hold on. Will we see those iconic menus? Is the DJ booth still that will be there? Will that stage be there? And will we have those annual parties that you would have? People want to know these things.
bro, it's fundamentally the same space but very different. You know,
Okay.
we tweaked it. It's been I've evolved as a builder. I've evolved as a designer. And my food in the past 5 years has evolved as well. You
Okay.
know, um,
Because
because
you used to have catfish there, right?
yeah, bro, we still like fundamentally the menu is still the same. Like for
Okay.
real. You know, what has what we did, what we've done in the past 2 months. We're like in the week 8 of being open. And what we've decided to do was like, we come with a summer menu, right? We're not doing brunch yet, right? Because brunch is a whole other menu, it's a separate menu. So what we're doing is I brought a summer menu and I condensed it to the greatest hits, essentially. The things that just stayed on my menu for the sake of being on my menu is gone. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And we're focused, it's a really focused menu. The issue for me going forward is like I have my wife's vegan, so I'm like, introducing more vegan items to the menu.
Great
So,
idea.
by mid-August, we are going with the vinyl will be back. We just printed the menu temporarily. This is the summer menu. We laminated it. But by the end of August, we will be back with the vinyl because it's very expensive to print the vinyl, to print and layout. You know what I mean? That whole
Mhm.
deal is like 15, $20 a record. So we didn't want to like print it and go, oh my God, we don't want to put this back, or, we need to add this to the menu. So we have this is the menu for the summer. By the end of August, we'll be reintroducing the brunch and the vegan items, right? But for summer, it's my barbecue that I like. I've tweaked over the years, and my jerk chicken has never been better. You know what I'm saying? I'm like tweaking it, you know. And yeah, man, it's been great. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, but you know how it goes. You gotta like crawl. It's like this. We face the exact same. It doesn't matter, man. You're a new restaurant in Toronto. No matter the clout you come with, it still takes a while for the word to get around and people to start walking through your doors again.
True. Will we have the iconic parties as there is it sitting in the back of your head? This is important for people because this was the place to come to.
We are actually, here's the thing I've come to realize, the restaurant game has fundamentally changed, but the what we're focused on primarily is events.
Good.
We're more of an events based space.
Yes.
Because that is where the community is where people walk through the door and feel like, yeah, this I belong here. I've
Yeah.
been hearing that a lot. And that's what we're focused on. You know what I mean? It's that sense of belonging, that where that sense of community. It's bizarre. Community now is like the new currency. You know what I mean? It really is. It really is the new currency. Because there's so much trying to divide and split. You know what I'm saying? That what we represented, that thing has never been broken. In the past 5 years of being out the game, I've only had an annual party. No, I used to have a party in for Christmas in the city. But
Yes.
you've been to that party.
Yes, I have.
Exactly. But at the farm, right, we have an annual party up here as well, and that party has grown immensely over the past 5 years. Like bizarre. It's 5 years of being out the game, and every year that party became more and more popular. You know, it was encouraging to say the least.
I love
Um,
that. I love
so
that.
don't worry. Look out for your invitation because it's coming in.
But the
Hope you
other
can make
thing,
it this year,
I will do what I can to make it. But the other thing that's what was important too, which was iconic, was the art. Is the art returning?
brother. The art will always be there. It's what I do.
Good. You just
It's
want
what
to
I
make
do.
sure. So let's make sure people know. And for newcomers, where is it? When is it open? Doors open, close?
It's 745 Queen Street West, as it's
Mhm.
always been. We're open Wednesday to Sunday, right, from 5 p.m. On the weekends, we open Saturday and Sunday. We open at noon. We've just started, and we're on Sundays. It's more of a day party because we're now hosting Hot Stepper Sundays. You know, so it's gathering momentum. You know what I mean? And that whole vibe is coming back. People are recognizing the importance of to say community. It's more of a safe space. Place where you
Yes.
feel like you belong and you can be you around people. Like you're not having to put on. You know what I mean?
Is the
Yeah.
patio going to be open?
Patio's still there, man.
Okay. You've answered all of my questions. The only thing left for me is to get my you know what down there. My brother, I gotta say, thank you so much for reopening. Thank you to
Oh,
your
bro.
family. Thank you to everyone involved for making this happen because you have no idea how many times I've thought about Harlem and going,
Yeah, sir.
damn, I wish I could have just gone down there and ate, or damn, I just wish I could have
Still
gone down
saying
there to
we are
hang.
that space, you know. We're not trying to be the Michelin stars of the world, you know. We're just like
No,
really good food and exceptionally good vibes.
absolutely,
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Congratulations, all the best, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much.
My man. My man.